Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, First of all, I would like to apologize that I was a little late because some issues were in the ministry. But I can see that I could not interact with much of you people, but I can see most of them are from the pharma industry. And I belong mostly towards the regulatory body of the medical education. Just now I was listening to the panelists, and I could understand the kind of issues that all of you face when you're facing with regulatory bodies. We become the villain of the whole industry. For the medical colleges, NMC is a kind of a villain only. But sometimes I feel it is an important thing that we have some regulations in place so that the quality of the whole medical education is maintained. Of course, NMC, in its new avatar, it is called NMC. Earlier, we used to be called as Medical Council of India. It was established in 1956, and since 1956, it has been regulating the medical colleges education. And it has done a good job because if you can see that the medical doctors, wherever they are, in fact, even in US and UK, the best quality of most of the doctors that are present there are from the Indian origin. That tells a lot about the quality that the kind of doctors are being produced. But recently, I feel, yes, the more focus was on the quantity rather than the quality. And now back again, we have to come back to the quality again. So, with this, I will start a small presentation for you, how the journey began, when was the NMC started, when was the MCI was there, and yes, the topic that was given to me was regarding the quality of medical education that is to be seen. And for that, the Ministry of Health and the Government of India, they had created 4 autonomous bodies. Earlier, MCA was one single body, and there was a need that if there was one single body, there was chances of, the decision making was not being taken in a proper manner, and the power center was all controlled in one place. So as to reduce that, there were allegations of corruptions also earlier. And to reduce that and to increase the quality of education, there was a committee, a parliamentary committee, which had suggested that the MCI should be broken down to 4 autonomous bodies and boards which are acting independent of each other. So we have 4 boards there which are operating, autonomous boards. Autonomous in the sense that they are operating autonomously in terms of the technical expertise. Like for the UG board looks after the UG medical education, the curriculum part. It looks after the UG regulations, the new regulations that have come in. The PG regulation, MEB looks after the PG regulation, PG medical education. And then we have the medical assessment rating board. This is the board which actually occupies almost 80% of our whole work because we're doing the assessments of all medical colleges. And lastly, we have the ethics and medical registration board. And this board looks after any ethical issues that are coming out of the doctors not being able to, are functioning in an ethical manner. And the registrations, whatever taking place across the country, this is looked after by the Ethics and Medical Registration Board. As you can see, when I did my MBBS from Maulana Azad Medical College, at that time there were only 100 medical colleges. And I think not more than 15,000 or 20,000 medical seats, MBBS seats were available. But as you can see the picture, over the period of time, the UG seats have increased to right now to almost 110,000 and almost 700 medical colleges in the country. And out of these 700 medical colleges, 50% are from the government sector and 50% from the private sector. So private sector is playing a large part in making up this medical education. And Honorable Prime Minister and our Health Minister are very much positive in the fact that we should have more participation in the private sector. And to do that, the Medical Council of India and the NMC, the new NMC, has made certain regulations which are more user-friendly, are more friendly towards the private sector. Now, earlier there was a cap of 25 acres which was to be required for making of a medical college, the whole campus. Now it's been reduced to 10 acres. Similarly, the requirement for the doctors, the faculty, that has been reduced. But at the same time, we have to see that there is a decrease in the requirement, but it should not lead to a decrease in the quality of the medical education. So last 4 or 5 years, if you can see, from 2014 onwards, the number of seats have increased tremendously from 54,000 to almost 1,10,000. It has doubled. Similarly, for the PG seats, it was around 30,000. It has become 68,000. So it has also doubled. So now that we have come to a stage where we have increased as much as possible, and we're still increasing it. Especially now, the more focus is on the aspirational districts. Like, for example, we are now concentrating on those districts where there are no medical colleges, or there are backward areas like northeast areas, or areas of maybe Jharkhand, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh. These are the areas which the government is now focusing on to increase the footprint of the medical colleges. So now that we have looked up to the quantity, now we want to concentrate on the quality. So how are we trying to get into do this? So for that, the UG Medical Board has made a competency-based curriculum. When we used to do our MBBS, at that time, it was not competency-based. That means it was not based on clinical skills. It used to be more theoretical. So when we joined our medical college, we used to think, when are we going to see the patients? So the first time we had an exposure to the patients was in 4th year or final year. So by that time, it used to be more of a rote learning. So in 2018, the new curriculum came, and it was in tune with the World Federation of Medical Colleges, because it had to be in tune with the USMLE and the PLAB, which the other countries are having. So that part we started in competency-based undergraduate curriculum, where from the first year onwards, the students are exposed to the the patients and to the hospital side. So there is an enthusiasm that grows for the students. They have a feeling that, yes, now we are going and becoming doctors rather than just studying in a medical school, like a medical college. So this helps in getting an early clinical exposure. And now the curriculum is such a way programmed that every lecture that is taken in the medical college, it is correlated with the bedside teaching. So if there is a teaching of a theory lecture of hypertension, then immediately they are exposed to the patients of the medical ward, so they can correlate with what is being taught in the theory classes with that of the clinical classes in the hospitals. There's another thing that has been introduced is the ATCOM module, where we are concentrating on the attitude, ethics and communication part. Unfortunately for our doctors, what we have seen is we have been always exposed to the textbooks. And because we are so much getting into the theory part, the communication part with the patients, how to communicate, the attitudes, and even the ethics part, that was missing in the earlier part. Now we have a foundation course for 3 months, where in these 3 months we are exposed to this attitude, ethics, and communication. And I think this is very important in the coming future, where we have to explain things to the patients, not just give a diagnosis and give them the medicines. You have to counsel them. And also it's important for the doctors also, because as you know, doctors as a profession is highly stressful. And one of the major suicides are taking place in the doctors themselves. So there is also a more intense preparation that they should be getting used to. We have introduced yoga classes also, meditation courses also, that first of all, they should heal themselves before they can heal any other patient. And there is also increased exposure in the basic research that has been exposed to, because now what we are seeing in medical college is mostly research that is oriented towards the patients and all in the clinical side. But there's an important need for the basic research. This is missing a lot in our Indian context, especially in the US and UK. You have a lot of exposure to the cellular physiology, cellular mechanisms, and in the pharma side. But here, mostly in Indian context, we see it is more toward the clinical side. If we can bring both of these two together, like for in vaccine, Elaji was saying that similar to that, if we have a basic exposure from the first year onwards, then maybe we can have budding scientists and budding doctors who can be exposed towards the basic research as well. So that is also one of the areas that we're looking into. As I told you earlier, we are putting a lot of exposure on yoga and meditation. Now, this is something that is being also appreciated not only in India but in the West also. And that is important because already we can see that the doctors are exposed to highly stressful conditions. They sit in the casualty. Most of the patients that they come, they're already, and they're also overworked. The resident doctors, they're working almost 30 to 24 hours continuously. So unless they themselves get that kind of a stress relieving procedures through yoga and meditation, then only they will be able to expose themselves and treat the patients well. There is also a local language adaptation that is taking place. In fact, in Madhya Pradesh and Uttarakhand, some of the MBBS courses, some subjects are being taught in the local vernacular language. That is important because most of the students, many of the students who come are coming from the rural areas. So it is in the first year they should be, they get very hassled when they get exposed or they get competing with their counterparts from the urban areas where there is a more emphasis on the English language. So if we have a local language adaptation, there is a chance that they will be able to adapt quickly to that particular subject. And later on also, when they go and serve the rural areas, then they will be able to treat them much more empathetically. There's another one important program that we have started, that is a mentor-mentee program. This is to prevent the ragging. As you all know, in medical education, in medical colleges, especially professional colleges, there's a lot of ragging taking place. So to prevent that, we have officially created a mentor-mentee program where the faculty, some of the faculty voluntarily, they own up or they take up a few students and they nurture them. And they have in them from the fourth year to the first year students. So it becomes like a small family. So after we started this mentor-mentee program, the ragging has reduced drastically in the medical colleges. And it also helps in fostering a kind of a brotherhood there. And the seniors are the ones who are taking active part in teaching their juniors. So this is one of the programs that has been started to prevent ragging and also to bring more brotherhood into the whole medical college campus. And there's a family village adoption program which is also taking place where the colleges have taken up villages. The students go there every morning or weekly once. So they have adopted each family. So that also helps them in tackling with them. And from the beginning itself, from the first year itself, they will have an exposure to the rural areas. So as we can see, most of the doctors that are there, even if the ratio is less reduced now, 1:1,000 has been reduced, most of the doctors are concentrated in the urban areas. So by fostering this village adoption program, there is a chance that they will develop a mechanism where they will have an advantage later on. Once they complete their MBBS or MD or super specialization, they will go there and they will then have they will go back into the rural areas and they will serve the rural areas where there is a more requirement as compared to what is required in the urban areas. And to have a good doctor, we need to have a good faculties. So we have started a faculty programs. Medical education units have been started in each medical colleges. There is an advanced medical course that takes place for 6 months. There is a basic requirement course which is for 3 months. So once these faculty programs are well developed, they are taught they are taught what are the teaching skills. Most of the time what happens is the doctors are more exposed towards the patient and only the treatment part. The teaching part is a skill that has to be developed, and this is being actively developed by having these programs, and already many such medical education units have been opened up in all medical colleges, and they have a central workshops taking place in the National Medical Commission so that the proper dissemination of the resources takes place. As I told you earlier, the exposure from the clinical part has started from the beginning itself. Now from the first year itself, there is an exposure to the clinical part that is taking place. And we have also reduced the beds and faculty and clinical material reduction is there so that the private sector can come into it. In fact, we have started a PPP program where the private entities, in fact, Adani Group has taken a district hospital, and the hospital part will be providing you with the clinical material, and the medical college part can be taken by the private entity. So that is a program that can be looked into, because many of the private colleges and private entities don't want to get into the hospital part. So this is also one program that has started, and many places this public-private partnership has started for opening medical colleges. And we want more corporate sectors, even Medanta or other institutes which are there, who are standalone medical hospitals, to come and bring about a interaction with the district hospitals, and they can create more medical colleges. Now to increase, as you know that nowadays that MSR is around 250. One classroom has 250 students, but to improve the quality, now we have reduced to 150. So that there is 1-to-1 ratio that takes place, and the student-teacher interaction is more. So to increase the quality, from now onwards, it has been decided that whatever medical college will be, the cap will be 150, and we will keep it at one time, and once it gets matured, the whole ecosystem, then we can increase to 250 in the future. So this is to improve the quality of the medical education that has been done. As far as the PG medical education is concerned, the broad specialties earlier in the regulation were around 34, now we increased to 38, and super specialties from 21 to 48. And since this is a dynamic program, more and more medical specialties are opening up. We have opened up more super specialties. Diploma courses, of course, we are not encouraging them right now because that does not involve teaching. It's mostly for the clinical material, and we have enough doctors, so diploma is not much of a priority right now. Degrees and super specialties and broad specialty is the main criteria now. And so as to ease the starting of PG institutions in a smaller government hospitals, we have decided that we need not have a UG medical college to start a PG. Even if there's a PG medical hospital, they can directly start the PG with a 220-bedded hospital also, and they need not have a medical MBBS college attached to start, because there are many corporate hospitals who don't want to get involved into the medical college concept of it. They just want to go into the super specialty and PG broad specialty. For them, this is a concept that is coming up. We have also tried to reduce the faculty requirement for the number of professors, associate professors, that has been reduced to start a PG program. Earlier we used to require one professor, one associate, one assistant. Now you can have even one associate professor and assistant, you can start the programs. So we have made it more flexible for the PG programs to start, so that you don't require much more inputs, because many of the complaints that we receive is that it is highly capital intensive. So that capital intensive is reduced, and we can ease the business so that more corporate people can come and start the medical courses. There was also one of the major issues with the earlier MCA regime was there was a lot of these assessors used to go, and there was kind of a corruption that was taking place. So slowly and slowly we want to go the assessment. We don't want to send physical assessments anymore. In the future, we are planning to have Aadhaar-based digital assessments only. In fact, under NMC, we have opened up a big hall where we can live stream all the classrooms, OPDs, all across the country. So with that, we don't have to send somebody to examine any medical college, or we don't have to send somebody to check whether the patients are there or not. This can be done at a digital level. This is still under process. And I think if once this happens, then with that Inspector Raj will be going off, and sitting at home, sitting at NMC, we will be able to inspect any time of the year across the time period, whether that medical college is fully functional, students are coming or not, the patients are there or not. So it will be wholly completely digitalized. So most likely from this year or next year onwards, the physical inspections will stop, and there will only be surprise inspections to find out if there is any complaints that are coming, then only we'll do it. But as a general routine, we'll be going by digital inspections only. So it will be more of, there's an ABA ID also, NHA, I think the lecture was there in the morning. So from the patients also, we have the data, how many patients are coming into the hospital, what is the OPD strength, what is the IPD strength. We don't have to send anybody to check that. Annual self-declarations will be taken from the colleges. Based on that, we will give them the seats. But if any point of time, if we have a surprise infection and we find out that it was a wrong declaration, then hefty fines will of course be kept, because we can't compromise on the quality of medical education to the students that are taking place. There is an MOU that has taken place with Quality Council of India, and hopefully in future we want to have rankings also. We will be having rankings of the medical colleges. We'll be putting on the website of NMC. The students can look at their assessments. They can choose their colleges depending on who are the faculty, how much is the faculty, how many of patients they are coming, and depending on the ranking, we don't need to rank by any agency. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. The ranking will be automatically made by the Quality Council of India based on the performances, the research, and the kind of faculty that is there, and whether there is good clinical material or not. Of course, another important thing that we're trying to come out is with the next, that is the exit exam. There's been a lot of opposition from the doctors, from the residents, but still the government of India is still looking at how we have to bring this changes, because this will be a game changer. Once we know the product that is coming out is good, then the assessment would not be that much of an importance, because now NEET is there. We know the product that is coming inside the NEET, because of that the quality is good, but the product that is coming out will be checked by the exit exam. If the NEET and next is there, then I think automatically the product, if it is coming good, then you don't have to worry about the fact that what is the processes those were taking place. So this exit exam we are planning to start soon, but for that the consultation is going on with the stakeholders, and once that comes, that will be a game changer for the whole industry. And we want to have MOUs with other countries like US and UK, and we can have, once we have this kind of an understanding with them, once we have this next, students can directly go and practice in the countries abroad. If we have similar kind of mechanisms to check the quality of the students or the doctors that are coming out. So it will also be important for registration purposes. We know who are the students who are registered. Right now we have Indian Medical Register, which is not updated. So we have lakhs of doctors in there, but we don't know whether how many of them are still surviving, whether still practicing. So that also is being looked into. We are trying to promote to get you to a National Medical Register very soon. Also, earlier the MCI was said that it was very blank, it was not open to discussions, but NMC wants to shed that image, and NMC wants to bring the draft regulations after having discussions with the stakeholders. In fact, even for the next exam, we had put in the circular. We had got more than 40,000 responses. Now we are trying to put them into various how to implement those and what actually the stakeholders want. So it is a two-way process, not a one-way process, and hopefully the information that we get from you, so we will be able to implement it and in a much more democratic manner. And we have started the e-office. There were chances that some information was getting leaked. With the e-office, it will be password protected and all the officers will be looking into it. So that is one thing that we already started. Approval letters with speaking orders we'll put on the website. The assessment forms we want to put it on the website so that the general public knows before going to hospital what are the things that the hospital has, how many faculty they have in each department, how many assistant professors, associate professors are there, what facilities they're giving, so that all these things will be put on the website. We have now recently got a World Federation of Medical Education certification for 10 years. This was an achievement for NMC because by this we have joined the club of the World Federation, and our students are in a way recognized even abroad. The students who have passed out from any NMC medical college are also recognized abroad. So this is a good, I think, a step that has come up in the last year itself. And we are also planning to have assessors allotment software. There are a lot of complaints and grievances. These assessors they already know who is coming to the college. We want to we have already made that software, and most likely from this year onwards we'll have that software where we can give the assessors without knowing which medical college is going for the assessments. This will increase the transparency of the whole system. There are plans, of course. Medical education is highly, as we all know, it's very costly business. In AIIMS and like Maulana Azad, it is still very cheap. It is around 5,000 rupees per year. But the private medical colleges, as you all know, the fees ranges from 25 lakhs to even 50 lakhs per annum. So this is highly, it's not conducive for the growth of a general middle class population. But to do that, there was a office memorandum we had taken out that 50% of the seats should be as per that government medical college. But I think some medical colleges have gone to court. It is still under litigation. But hopefully in future, and it will be reduced. But in a way, indirectly it's going to reduce, because now the number of medical colleges we have increased so much, and the medical MBBS seats we have increased so much. So automatically the private colleges which were exorbitantly getting that fees, that hopefully should be getting reduced slowly and slowly. When the demand increases, then automatically, hopefully, the price for the fees will decrease. We have a program, Pradhan Mantri, the program where every district has a new medical college. Of course, it's not covered in all districts right now, but in southern south of India, that is Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, we have almost all districts now have a medical college. Now our more focus is right now on Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, and once we have that, we'll have a lot of medical colleges. That should reduce the fees as well. As I told you earlier, that NMC has removed that mandate of large land, because that also would have passed on to the students. That has been reduced to 10 acres. So hopefully this will also reduce it will make the medical education more affordable. Now the fewer departments are mandated. A lot of complaints come from the medical colleges that the requirements per se for opening up a medical college runs into some hundreds of crores. So because of that, the medical education is very expensive. So by reducing the number of departments and the land that is required, we plan to reduce the medical fees slightly lesser. Smaller hospitals also being opened up. Now you can start a medical college with 50 students intake also. That is being started from this year. Earlier it used to be minimum from 100. Now it can be reduced to 50. So you can start a smaller college which can be increased over a period of time. This is for opening of a smaller college of 50 students per year, and that can be increased over a period of time. But we kept a cap of 150 because we don't want to compromise on the quality. In China, each session may have even 1,000 MBBS students in one class. So you can imagine that you don't even remember the names of the students. The students at the back, they are not focused. So I think by keeping it fixed at 150, the NMC has tried to bring a ratio, a middle balance ground where the quality will not be compromised. At the same time, the college will be able to sustain themselves. State governments are required to verify. We have also seen like states like Pondicherry, it's a small place and we have around 11 medical colleges. There also what happens is, because if there are too many medical colleges in one small constant geographical area, it will ultimately lead to a position where there are no patients per college, and the quality will suffer, because the main education that takes place in the medical wards and the hospitals. For us doctors, the hospitals are the wards. So we want to ensure that automatically it should be geographically restricted to new medical colleges should come up in places where there are no medical colleges existent right now. And to make it more open and reliable, we have opened up other mechanisms. If some medical colleges gets rejected on some ground, they have a chance to appeal to the ministry. First appeal is with the chairman NMC, second appeal with the Ministry of Health. Similarly for EMRB, that ethics board, you can go against and appeal in the NMC itself. There's a second appeal in the NMC itself. And first of all, you have to come to the SMC, that is State Medical Council, then the NMC. The government has also target of 1 lakh UG seats that we already achieved, and 75,000, that was the plan when we started 4 years back. We achieved that. Maybe in the next plan, Sitaraman ma'am, the finance minister, has said that we want to increase more seats, and we are planning to 1,50,000 seats very soon, and that is also in the pipeline. And the finance ministry has given us enough budget to go through that, hopefully in the next 4 or 5 years. And the FMG, there's a lot of queries regarding the FMG guidelines. The students who are coming from UK, Ukraine, and China, there was a lot of issue. We are trying to look into it, that how we can integrate them back into the system, and we have made mechanisms so that they can also be integrated into the system. Of course, the yoga module which we have started, and our chairman sir and other officials of the ministry are of also the view that Ayush should be integrated with this. So there are plans that Ayush It's our integrated system of Ayurveda, Unani, and homeopathy. We want to integrate this with our programs of allopathy, and we want to merge, or we want to get the best of both, and the best doctor should come out of the system. That's the basic idea of the NMC for maintaining quality medical education. And in the end, I'm just closing it now. This has already been talked. So in fact, that is almost over. So I think this is the mechanisms by which NMC in its new form of MCI is trying to get quality education. The quantity has been achieved for a larger part, but quality is the main issue right now. That's how we want to plan for the future. Thank you so much.